It was a sultry summer night, around midnight, and despite the sweltering heat outside, which hovered around 39 degrees Celsius, a woman named Van and a man named Jiang were entangled in each other's arms. Suddenly, the power went out, and the air in the room grew increasingly stifling, causing both to sweat profusely. The encounter, once thrilling, became less enticing due to the oppressive heat. Van's interest in the older man waned. He had become nothing more than a relic in her eyes. Despite their secretive liaison, her heart longed for something far more exciting, and she had only kept Jiang around to utilize him for something else. Once their meeting concluded, Jiang swiftly dressed and left Van's house, while she retreated to the bathroom in search of cool water to wash away the remnants of their indulgent evening. After her refreshing shower, she re-entered her room but found herself tossing and turning, unable to find solace. Frustrated, she picked up her phone and dialed the electricity company's hotline to report the power outage. The response was less than satisfying, as the representative could not provide an estimate for when repairs would be made. Leaving her disheartened, suddenly, she remembered her nephew Man, a recent electrical trade school graduate. She had heard whispers of his promising skills. Without hesitation, she dialed his number, but he didn't pick up, likely annoyed by the interruption of his evening. After multiple attempts, Man finally answered, grumbling about the late-night call. "Hello? Who's bothering me at this hour?" he complained, not recognizing her voice. "It's Aunt Van. Don't you have my number saved?" she replied playfully. "Oh, so it's you, Aunt Van. What's so urgent?" he asked. "Curious. I've lost power, and it's unbearably hot. Can you come check on it for me?" "I can't. Let's wait until morning, okay? Your husband isn't home, and I don't want any gossip flying around," he reasoned. "Gossip? Who cares? I'm boiling here. Please, help me out. I can't sleep," Van pressed, her frustration bubbling to the surface. "Fine, I'll be there soon." Man finally relented. 10 minutes later, Man arrived on his motorcycle, and as he entered, Van greeted him with the soft glow of her phone's flashlight. She wore a lovely summer nightgown, which he couldn't help but admire. "Wow, Aunt Van, looking comfortable," he teased, causing her to giggle. After Man quickly restored the power, Van's spirits lifted as the lights flickered back to life. "It was that simple?" she exclaimed, impressed. "Yeah, just a blown fuse, nothing to worry about," he explained, casually leaning against the wall. The mere proximity to him made Van's heart race. Man, young and handsome, exuded an intoxicating charisma. As they conversed, she couldn't shake the feeling that this handsome young man could provide her with what she truly craved, a sense of adventure that had long since faded from her life. "Mo, if it happens again, you'll know how to fix it. And if you want, I can replace your fuse with a stronger one. I can assure it won't blow out again," he added lightly, unaware of the electric tension between them. Van leaned closer, subtly allowing herself to bask in his presence. Suddenly, it dawned on her, the realization that she remained vulnerable and open, longing for someone to awaken the desires long buried in her heart. He had the qualities not easily found in her world of wealth and privilege, raw, unrefined charm that made her rethink her choices. Man couldn't help but notice her closeness. "You're looking different tonight, Aunt Van," he said, avoiding eye contact but not before his gaze lingered too long, taking in her beauty. "You think so? This old dress?" she replied, her heart racing. Their chemistry undeniable now. The distance between them seemed to evaporate, and she could almost taste the charged air, while they shared a meal of steaming bowls of boon bow moments after their light banter. Van noticed Man stealing glances at her, his gaze wandering with reckless abandon. The way he watched her, with a mix of admiration and something deeper, ignited a fire within her. "Have you thought about settling down, Man?" she asked, trying to sound casual. He let out a laugh. "With who? I'm just a working man. Who would want me?" "Anyone worth having," she said softly, leaning in closer, her voice laced with a sultry undertone. "Perhaps someone older, someone who knows what they want." As the conversation flowed from flirtation to deeper subjects, Van began to lose herself in a fog of desire and longing. Unaware of the storm brewing in her heart, the ghosts of her past began to resurface. The specter of her husband loomed large, reminding her of the cage she was desperate to break free from. But it was man who presented the ultimate temptation. He was fresh, untainted, offering a world that was filled with adventure and thrill, everything her current life lacked. I've had my share of relationships, but something about being with an older woman. He paused, taken with the idea. It just seems exciting. There's so much more to experience. With this admission, Van felt a rush of exhilaration course through her. Oh, what a thrilling course of events this encounter had set in motion. The boundaries of their relationship began to blur in the heat of the night, pushing them toward a precipice filled with uncertainty yet drenched in promise. In her quest for something new, Van found herself replaying past moments filled with mischief, awareness of her own desires, leading to deeper introspection about who she truly wanted to become, an acknowledgement of her craving for connection against the backdrop of an emotionally desolate space left by her husband. As they finished their meal, Man grew confident. You know, I really admire you, Aunt Van, he said, his voice dropping to a more intimate tone, searching her face for a sign. You could pursue your desires, no matter how complicated they might seem. What if I want to? She whispered, a glimmer of mischief in her eyes. Then let's make tonight memorable, he replied, a newfound determination shaping his words. As the night wore on, both were caught in a thrilling chaos, wrestling internally with desires that were as dangerous as they were intoxicating, propelling them toward an uncertain future. And with that, the heat of the night wrapped around them like a sensuous shroud, leaving them poised on the edge of choice, ready to dive into the uncertain yet electrifying waters of fate. As they sat across from each other, sipping the last of their beers, Van's heart raced with the possibilities that lay before her. Man's youthful energy was intoxicating, a stark contrast to the life of luxury and comfort that had become her prison. She felt an undeniable pull toward him, a desire that was both exhilarating and terrifying. Man, do you think it's wrong for us to feel this connection? She asked hesitantly, her voice barely above a whisper. He leaned in closer, his eyes locking onto hers with a seriousness that sent shivers down her spine. No, Mo, sometimes, life throws us into unexpected situations. It's how we respond that truly matters. Van pondered his words, torn between the societal expectations she had grown up with and the raw, unfiltered attraction she felt for him. The thrill of being desired, of feeling alive again, was foreign yet welcomed. Here was a man who saw her not just as a mother figure or a wife, but as a woman. Should we act on this? She questioned, her voice trailing off as she searched his eyes for answers. Man shifted in his seat, the tension palpable. What are you afraid of, Mo? The past or what could happen next? Van took a deep breath, realizing that her fear of judgment and of straying too far from societal norms had kept her locked in a cage for far too long. I'm afraid of losing everything, but I also crave more. I want to feel desired again. He reached across the table, his fingertips gently brushing her hand. You deserve to feel alive, Mo Van. No one knows what the future holds, but I can promise you this. Every moment spent avoiding our desires costs us priceless chances. The heat of the moment enveloped them both, the air thick with unresolved tension. Feeling both reckless and exhilarated, Van slid closer, her heart racing as she whispered, then show me what I've been missing. Man's eyes gleamed with determination. They both leaned in, minds racing with uncertainty yet the promise of something extraordinary pushing them forward. In that charged moment, they crossed an invisible line, a pact formed in the darkness, a voyage into the unknown. As the clock ticked toward dawn, every instinct screamed at Van to take a leap of faith, to embrace her desires without remorse. She looked at Man, seeing not just a young man but a reflection of everything she once longed for, the anticipation, spontaneity, and thrill of being alive. I'm ready, she finally said. The moment lingered before Man's lips curled into a knowing smile, echoing her sentiment. Let's leave the past behind and create our own story. With newfound courage, they let passion guide them into uncharted territory, both exhilarated and terrified about what lay ahead. And so the night deepened, culminating in a beautiful, precarious dance of emotions, secrets, and the intoxicating possibility of love rediscovered. It was a night that would change them both, setting the stage for a journey neither had anticipated but both desperately needed. As the first light of dawn began to seep through the heavy curtains, painting the room in soft hues of gold, Van and Man found themselves entwined, both in their hopes and budding desires. The night had transformed them, taking them from the confines of their respective lives into a realm filled with possibilities. They had crossed a line, but rather than feeling regret, both were washed over by an exhilarating sense of freedom. Van stirred first, blinking away the remnants of sleep. She watched Man as he slept next to her, bathed in the soft glow of the morning light. His features were peaceful, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions running through her mind. She had done the unthinkable, but amidst the exhilaration, questions danced around her thoughts. What did this mean for her? For him? The weight of the world's expectations pressed heavily on her. Slowly, Man opened his eyes, meeting her gaze with a delightful surprise. "Good morning, Mo," he said, his voice husky from sleep. "Good morning," she responded, her heart fluttering at the affection in his eyes. "Last night was unexpected." He chuckled softly. Unexpected is an understatement. Their laughter mingled, creating a light atmosphere that eased the tension in the room. Van propped herself up on her elbow, looking down at him. "What happens now? This is all so new for me. I've spent years following the expected path." Man shifted, now looking serious. "What if this is the beginning of something new for you, Mo? Don't you want to explore what you've kept buried for so long?" His words resonated deeply within her. For years, she'd played the role of the dutiful wife, the perfect mother, always putting others' needs before her own. The thought of stepping into a new light, rediscovering her own desires, thrilled and terrified her. "What about your life? Your friends? They will talk," she whispered, fear creeping back. "They can talk all they want," he replied with a grin. "This is about us, about what we want. We're allowed to be happy, to seek what makes us feel alive." Van's heart raced at his bravery. Man was right. They both had the right to pursue their happiness, even if it meant defying convention. Biting her lip, she nodded. "You're right. I want this. I want to discover what it means to truly live again, to reclaim that part of me that I lost." "Then let's take it one step at a time," Man encouraged, his hand reaching out to hold hers. "We'll figure it out together." Van's heart swelled with warmth and hope. For so long, she felt like she had lost her voice, her choices drowned out by the weight of conformity. But here was someone who saw her, truly saw her. Man was like a breath of fresh air, awakening something deep within her that she thought had long since faded. As they began to sit up, Van caught a glimpse of her reflection in the mirror across the room. There was a sparkle in her eyes she hadn't seen in years. Maybe this was the start of rediscovering who she was, a woman deserving of passion, adventure, and love. "Let's start today right," she said, a playful smile spreading across her face. "What do you say we go out for breakfast? I want to celebrate this new beginning." Man's eyes lit up with excitement. "I know a great little place nearby. Best pancakes in town." "Pancakes and coffee it is then," Van agreed. Feeling lighter than air, the duo quickly got dressed, sharing smiles and laughter as they prepared to face the world outside, not as a mother and a nephew but as two souls embarking on a thrilling journey together. As they stepped out into the bright morning sun, Van felt a surge of confidence. The warmth of the sun mingled with the warmth of newfound freedom. She had chosen to live authentically, and she would face whatever judgment came her way. Together, hand in hand, they walked towards the future, ready to write their own story, one filled with love, laughter, and the fiery passion that had ignited between them. They would embrace the unknown, finding joy in the unpredictable twists and turns that lay ahead, knowing they held the power to shape their own destiny. As Van and Man strolled down the sunlit streets, the air was filled with the scent of fresh pastries and brewing coffee, a welcome reminder of a new beginning. The morning buzz of the city wrapped around them like a warm embrace, and laughter bubbled between them as they shared stories of their lives, their passions, their dreams, and the heartaches that had brought them to this moment. "Do you remember the first time we met?" Man asked, a teasing smile playing on his lips. Van chuckled, recalling the moment vividly. Of course. You were so shy, trying to fix that fuse while I awkwardly stood by, not knowing whether to laugh or cringe at the situation. Man laughed heartily, his carefree spirit infectious. And you were dressed like you were heading to a gala. I thought the power outage was going to ruin your outfit. Little did you know, it was the highlight of my week. She replied, her eyes sparkling with mischief. That was the moment I realized I needed something, or someone, different in my life. They reached their destination, a quaint cafe nestled between vibrant flower shops and artisan bakeries. The smell of coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the sweetness of pastries. As they sat down at a cozy outdoor table, Van felt a sense of belonging wash over her. This was her new life, and she was ready to embrace every moment. So, what's next for us? Man asked, swirling the coffee in his cup, his gaze steady and focused on her. We can't just jump into this without a plan. Van took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. I think we start by being honest about what we want. This connection we have, it's genuine. But I also don't want to just be your secret. He nodded, understanding the weight of her words. I get that. We can take our time. There's no need to rush into anything. Let's just enjoy each other's company and see where it leads. They spent the morning in easy conversation, sharing bites of pastries and sipping their coffees. With every word exchanged, Van felt the walls around her heart crumble just a bit more. Man was patient and genuine, giving her the space to express her fears and hopes without judgment. As the cafe buzzed with life around them, Van reflected on the paths that had converged to lead them here. She had lived so long under the heavy weight of expectations. And now, sitting across from Man, she felt lighter, freer. Just so you know, she said, tilting her head with a playful glint in her eyes. If we're doing this, I expect a lot of adventure. No more sitting quietly in the shadows. Adventure? Count me in, Man exclaimed, his enthusiasm infectious. Let's explore everything this city has to offer. From markets to music festivals. And who knows, maybe we'll even find a hidden beach. Now you're speaking my language. Van laughed, feeling invigorated by his energy. I might have to polish off my dance moves for those festivals. Though, bring it on, he challenged, his eyes twinkling back at her. And who knows, maybe I can teach you a few hip-hop steps. Just don't hold back with that graceful waltz of yours. The conversation flowed seamlessly, with laughter punctuating the air like music. The more they talked, the more Van realized how much she enjoyed this connection. Man's presence felt easy. There was no pretense. Just a genuine willingness to explore life together. As they finished their breakfast, the sun climbed higher in the sky, bathing them in warmth. Van looked at Man, her heart brimming with hope and excitement for the journey ahead. Shall we start with a walk to the park? Van suggested, eager to soak in the beauty of the day together. Absolutely. Lead the way, Man replied, already getting up from his chair, a sense of adventure gleaming in his eyes. With their hands brushing against each other as they walked, Van felt a rush of exhilaration. This was only the beginning. In that moment, she knew she had chosen a new path. One filled with possibilities, laughter, and an undeniable connection that would guide them through the uncertainty ahead. As they strolled toward the park, laughter and playful banter filled the air, sending ripples of joy through Van's heart. The city around them seemed to transform, with each step. The vibrant colors of life became more vivid, more accessible. Van had never realized how beautiful the world could be when viewed through the lens of newfound freedom. The park was alive with the sounds of children playing, birds chirping, and the distant hum of city life. They found a quiet spot under a large, shade-giving tree, its leaves rustling gently in the soft breeze. Van settled on the grass, feeling a rush of nostalgia for carefree days gone by. And Man joined her, mirroring her relaxed posture. What do you enjoy doing the most? Man asked, turning to face her fully, his expression one of genuine curiosity. Van thought for a moment, reflections of her past flitting through her mind, dances, laughter, and moments of sheer joy that had been overshadowed by responsibilities. I used to love painting, she admitted, but I haven't picked up a brush in years. Life just took over. Then let's change that, he suggested, excitement lighting up his eyes. Let's go paint together. A little adventure into creativity sounds perfect. Don't you think? She smiled at the idea. The thought of dipping her brush into vibrant colors made her heart flutter. That sounds wonderful. I'd love to. They spent the day wandering through the park, picking up samples of nature's beauty, blossoming flowers, lush greenery, and the rhythmic flow of the nearby river. Each element inspired Van with new ideas, the spark of creativity reigniting within her. Later that afternoon, with tubes of paint and canvases in tow, they set up an impromptu painting station back at Van's place. The excitement mingled with a hint of nervousness as they prepared to explore this new dimension of their relationship. Ready to unleash your inner artist? Man teased, setting up his own canvas beside hers. Oh, absolutely. Just don't laugh at my skills, she replied, mock serious, her competitive spirit flaring. Hey, it's about having fun. Besides, I might be the one begging you for art lessons. He grinned, grabbing a brush with enthusiasm. As they began to paint, vibrant colors splashed onto the canvases, each stroke becoming a reflection of their emotions. Van's laughter mingled with Man's playful comments as they shared not only brushes but also stories, dreams, and aspirations. What does this represent to you? He asked, gesturing at her lively strokes of color. Van paused to think, realizing how much had shifted inside her since she had embraced her desires. Freedom, I think, she replied. It's the burst of colors representing the emotions I've kept bottled up for so long. Then I'm glad I could experience this with you, he said warmly, his gaze sincere. Every stroke is a step away from the past, and I can't wait to see where the next step leads us. Feeling inspired, Van leaned closer, their shoulders touching. The familiar electricity surged between them, and the atmosphere turned charged with possibilities. Her heart raced, stirring a mix of vulnerability and excitement. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over their artwork, Man turned to her, his expression suddenly serious. Van, I know this is all new and perhaps overwhelming, but I want you to know that I'm here for you. I care about you, and I don't want this moment to be just a fleeting one. The sincerity in his voice wrapped around her like a warm blanket. And Van felt herself tear up slightly. I care about you too. Man, this is new territory for me. I want to embrace it. To explore it fully. Encouraged by her admission, Man took her hand gently. Then let's promise to be open with each other. To communicate everything, our fears, our desires, our dreams. Van nodded, feeling an unexpected strength in their bond. I promise. No more hiding. With that promise hanging in the air, they sealed their commitment to one another with a shared look that spoke volumes, a blend of hope, excitement, and raw vulnerability. The day had been transformative, and as they continued painting, they both knew they were weaving together not just art but also the early threads of a beautiful, intricate tapestry of sharing and discovery. As daylight faded into twilight, Van and Man continued to paint, the colors on their canvases blending together as if reflecting the evolving bond between them. With each brushstroke, they found themselves revealing not only their artistic sides but also their deepest thoughts and feelings. The air was thick with creativity and vulnerability, emotions spilling onto the canvas and into their conversation. May, have you ever thought about what your future looks like? Van asked, pausing her stroke and looking over at him. Man considered her question, his brow furrowing slightly. I used to think about it a lot. Especially when I first graduated. I wanted to climb the corporate ladder, make a name for myself. But now I just want to enjoy every moment. Life is too short, you know? Van nodded in understanding. In her own way, she had been living in the shadows of expectations and responsibilities, balancing the desires of others with her own. She wanted the same freedom he craved. I think I spent so long chasing what I should want that I forgot to consider what I actually want, she confessed. It feels liberating to choose for myself. Exactly, he exclaimed, his eyes lighting up. Going for what you desire is what makes life fulfilling. We should never stop learning and exploring, no matter our age. His words resonated deeply within her. Van realized that this journey with man was more than just a fleeting romance. It was a chance to rediscover herself. To embrace a vibrant future filled with possibilities. I want to paint a life that reflects who I am deep down, she said, gripping her brush with newfound determination. Man leaned closer, fascinated by her passion. And what does that life look like? After a moment of reflection, Van smiled softly. A life filled with art, laughter, travel, and unexpected adventures. I want to experience love in its truest form, not just romantic love, but love for life, for experiences, for people. That sounds beautiful, Man said genuinely, taking a step back to admire her canvas. Every stroke you make represents your journey. It's all about finding joy in what you create. Looking around, Van felt a spark of inspiration. Let's make a pact, she proposed impulsively. Let's create something meaningful together. Whether it's a painting, a memory, or something even bigger. Man's eyes widened with excitement. I love that idea. Let's start with a project that combines our dreams. What if we host an art exhibition? We could showcase our work and invite friends, family, anyone who has supported us along the way. Van's heart raced at the thought. An exhibition? That sounds incredible. We could share our stories through our art and inspire others. Exactly, Man beamed, clearly enthusiastic. We can start small. Let's gather our friends for an art night where everyone can create something, painting, drawing, or even crafting. We can share our stories, celebrate creativity, and maybe even find some hidden talents among us. I love that idea, Van replied, her excitement building. Together, we can create a space for connection and inspiration. It could become something bigger than we imagined. As they plotted their plans, a sense of possibility filled the space between them. They no longer felt like a woman and a young man but rather two kindred spirits on a shared path of discovery. With each passing moment, their friendship deepened, crossing boundaries into something richer. Van felt herself falling for Man, not just for his charm but for the way he encouraged her to be her authentic self. He saw the beauty in her vulnerabilities, embracing the complexity of who she was. As the night grew darker, they finally stepped back from their canvases, surveying their work. Each painting held echoes of laughter, dreams, and an unspoken promise of adventure that lay ahead. They had transformed their materials and emotions into something vibrant and meaningful, a testament to their newfound connection. Sitting side by side, watching the stars begin to twinkle above them, Van turned to Man, her heart overflowing with gratitude. Thank you for being a part of this journey. I never expected to find someone who understands and inspires me the way you do. Man smiled, his eyes reflecting the soft glow of the moonlight. The pleasure is mine, Van. Together, we can create our own path, filled with whatever we desire. The possibilities are endless. And under the canvas of the night sky, with dreams swirling around them, Van felt a sense of belonging that she had longed for. It was a moment of awakening. She was ready to embrace life with open arms. Guided by the promise of love, laughter, and a vibrant future, together, they were about to embark on an extraordinary chapter of their lives. The days passed swiftly, filled with laughter, art, and shared aspirations. Van and Man grew closer, their bond deepening with each shared canvas and conversation. The art nights became a regular affair, drawing in friends and family who were eager to participate in the unfolding tapestry of creativity that Van and Man were creating. Their first art night was a resounding success. The living room was transformed into a lively studio, adorned with colorful canvases and scattered paint tubes. Friends gathered, each with their unique style and flair, and the air buzzed with excitement. Van and Man took a moment to step back, taking in the joyful chaos they had initiated. Can you believe how many people showed up? Van exclaimed, her heart swelling with pride. It's amazing. Everyone is so inspired, Man replied, his enthusiasm contagious. This is just the beginning, Van. As the night progressed, they moved among their guests, sharing tips, encouraging creativity, and soaking in the infectious atmosphere. Van felt alive, surrounded by the energy and laughter of people expressing themselves through art. This was what she had longed for, a sense of community, of belonging. In the midst of the action, Van caught Man's eye and felt the connection between them deepen. They had become partners not just in art but in life. Their conversations about dreams and futures continued to flow. And with each passing day, Van felt herself growing bolder, embracing her passion, her creativity, and the growing love she felt for Man. One evening, as they cleaned up after another successful art night, Van turned to him, her voice barely above a whisper. "I never imagined that my life could change so much in such a short time." Man leaned against the counter, glancing at her with a gentle smile. "You've changed it, Van. You took the leap. It's all about choosing to embrace life. And I'll be here every step of the way." Encouraged by his words, Van felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. "Thank you for believing in me. For pushing me to explore who I truly am. Because you deserve it," he said earnestly. "You have so much to offer the world. Let's keep creating, not just art but memories and experiences." As the weeks unfolded, their lives intertwined further. They explored new art forms, visited galleries, and even collaborated on a mural for a local community center. It was during these collaborations that Van discovered Man's incredible talent, not just with a brush but with bringing people together. His enthusiasm was infectious as he encouraged others to find their voices through art. One day, while working on the mural, Man suggested they include messages of hope and inspiration for anyone who passed by. "Let's make this mural a reflection of our dreams," he said. "So, what do we dream about?" Van asked. Her curiosity piqued. "Adventure, love, creativity, and the courage to pursue our passions," he replied, his eyes twinkling with excitement. "Let's write those messages on the wall as a reminder for ourselves and others." Working side by side under the warmth of the sun, they painted, laughed, and shared their dreams freely. Van felt a growing sense of fulfillment as they both stepped beyond the confines of their pasts into a future where they could embrace life without fear. As they added the final touches to the mural, the sun began to set, bathing the scene in hues of orange and pink. Van stepped back, admiring the transformation they had created together. "This is so beautiful," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "It is. But it's only just the beginning," Man replied, looking deeply into her eyes. "We have so much more to explore, to create." And in that moment, surrounded by the vibrant colors of their mural, Van realized how far she had come. She had stepped out of the shadows, embraced her creativity, and found love in a place she never expected. As they stood together, hand in hand, watching the sunset, Van felt ready to embrace whatever adventures lay ahead. With Man by her side, she knew they would face each new challenge together, fueled by passion, art, and an unbreakable bond. As the last light of day melted into the horizon, Van and Man stood side by side, their hearts intertwined with the colors of the mural they had created together. With each stroke of paint, they had not only decorated the wall but also crafted a vibrant symbol of hope and connection for everyone who would pass by. In the days that followed, their mural became a celebrated part of the community. Neighbors gathered, families took photos, and children laughed and played nearby. Van and Man watched as their creation brought joy to others, reinforcing their belief in the power of art and connection. One evening, while admiring their work, Van suddenly turned to Man, her eyes brimming with excitement. "What if we take this further? What if we start a community art project? Something that brings people together and encourages them to express themselves?" Man's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "That's an amazing idea, Van. We could host workshops, invite artists to collaborate, and maybe even provide materials for kids and families. It could truly make a difference." The prospect of a larger project ignited a fire within them. They spent the next few weeks planning and organizing, reaching out to local artists and community members. With each passing day, their vision became clearer. Van felt invigorated by the idea of not just creating art for themselves but also fostering a community of artisans and dreamers. When the day of the first workshop arrived, the air was filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Van stood beside Man, surveying the colorful tents and eager participants who had gathered. People of all ages were present, ready to unleash their creativity. "Are you ready for this?" Man asked, nervously adjusting his art supplies. "More than ever," Van replied, squeezing his hand for reassurance. This is what we envisioned. And it's happening. As they led the workshop, Van witnessed the magic of collaboration. Participants came together, sharing ideas, techniques, and stories. Art flowed freely, and laughter echoed through the park. Van felt a sense of fulfillment wash over her. This was what her life was meant to be. Surrounded by creativity and joy. At one point during the workshop, as Van encouraged a shy little girl to paint a rainbow, she looked over at Man. He was passionately guiding a group of teenagers, his enthusiasm igniting their creativity. In that moment, Van felt an overwhelming sense of pride and love. They had built something remarkable together. Weeks turned into months, and their community art project flourished. They hosted exhibitions, organized local open mic nights, and created spaces where people could share their talents. Each event brought them closer. And with every shared smile and moment of creativity, Van and Man fell deeper in love. One quiet evening, while wrapping up another successful event, Man turned to Van. "You know, I never expected my life to take this turn. It's been incredible to work alongside you. To see you thrive." Van's heart swelled. "You've been my greatest inspiration. Man, I couldn't have done this without you. You saw the potential in me when I couldn't see it myself." With a warm smile, he replied, "We inspire each other. Let's continue to chase these dreams, no matter where they lead us." As they stood under the stars, the world filled with possibilities, Van realized that she had embraced life to its fullest. She had found love, friendship, and a renewed sense of self. In that moment, Van knew their adventures were just beginning. Together, they would keep exploring new horizons, unearthing gems of creativity, and fostering connection wherever they went. With their hands intertwined and hearts full of dreams, they gazed up at the stars, ready to write the next chapter of their lives together, knowing that each day would bring new opportunities to create, love, and inspire.